You're eating too much red meat. Red meat stays in your stomach for up to 30 days.
So will red meat sit in your stomach for 30 days? No, it will not. So there were a good number of false claims made in this video, but specifically the idea that red meat will sit in your stomach for 30 days. First of all, no food is going to sit in your stomach for 30 days. But meat in particular is one food that likely will not lead to constipation. The reason for this is because protein, which is the main component of meat, is actually the first macromolecule that gets broken down. You see, the stomach typically will not break down fats and carbohydrates to a significant degree, but it does pre-digest protein very well, meaning that when it gets into the small intestine, it's very quickly broken down and absorbed. And given that you still have a gallbladder or a liver, you will produce bile that will break down the fat. And then once again, you will absorb the fat. And because meat products don't actually have any fiber in it, it's almost completely digested and absorbed inside of the large intestine, meaning that there is very little, if any, residual matter that may get into the colon. And it typically takes between 5 and 7 hours for food to get to the colon. But since meat is digested so rapidly, there really is nothing left for the colon to absorb. And the speed at which meat exits your stomach is actually demonstrated by the recommendations pre-colonoscopy. A colonoscopy is when they stick a tube down your throat to view your intestines. And before a colonoscopy, they try and get your intestinal tract as clean and empty as possible. And the few foods that you can eat prior to a colonoscopy are going to be meat and eggs. And you're recommended to avoid things like nuts, grains, legumes, and high fiber foods. The reason for this is because these foods have the longest transit time, meaning it takes the longest amount of time for them to get out of the intestinal tract. And it's suggested that you can eat meat up to 24 hours prior to a colonoscopy. But you would want to limit the consumption of the aforementioned high fiber foods no earlier than around 48 hours prior to the colonoscopy. And now, there's absolutely nothing wrong with foods that have longer transit times. But if you are having issues with digestion, you may actually benefit from eating foods that do not have as much fiber. And these are specifically foods like meat and eggs. So if you're suffering with digestive issues, I actually think meat and eggs are going to be one of the last foods you would remove. I would first remove things like nuts, grains, legumes, and specific vegetables to see which ones you react adversely to. And if you want to learn more how to both look good and feel good, and fix any of your underlying digestive issues, send me a message and we'll set up a consultation.